2020, we moved from central Houston to the outskirts, but they don't adjust it that same year. They send you a check the year later. So that 1 year we had to pay the difference. It's like $1,200 a month. Between the two properties, the taxes went up with insurance, $2,500 a month.
How do you get it? Did you have to appeal? Is there a process that you went through?
When we had to redo the homestead, once we submitted that, then it goes through the paperwork.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Real Estate Deli, where we cut through all the noise and deliver actionable insight and make the information the star. Let's welcome now to the stage, Edgar the Connector out of Houston, Texas.
H-Town, baby.
Let's go. What up? What's going on, big dog?
Thank you, Mondo. Coming here and trying to hopefully give some insight to your audience, man. Provide some value to them, to them and to yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully you enjoyed the pod. I appreciate everyone being on. Edgar's going to drop some gems. He's going to tell us about his story in the space. And let's get right to it, Edgar. Edgar, how long have you been in the real estate space? What drove you here? What made you interested in it? What sparked that light in you to say, man, this is a road I'm interested in going down?
So becoming an actual real estate investor and putting my effort really into it. 2023, I actually went to conference they had in Vegas, and I'd been following Pace for a while, and I actually ran into Pace there, and that was cool because I wasn't part of the community. And people were like, oh man, it's real nice. Just go talk to him. He wants to talk to everybody. And the dude, just the vibe that he has is just amazing. 2020, we moved from central Houston to the outskirts in Crosby, and just to be closer to my job because I was driving long distance both ways. And then I started putting that house to rent, long-term rental. And after 2 years of that, it was basically breaking even, just little stuff that the tenants wouldn't take care of or would call about, the silliest things. And then learning about Pace and Sub 2, was learning about taking over mortgages when I realized, like, hey man, I can do this without having to put in my own credit and buy houses. Because I had just bought a house, so I knew how the process was of a Bible worth of encyclopedia worth of freaking documents to turn in.
That's crazy.
So that's when I really started getting into it and really deep diving into Pace's teachings. I'd gone into another one for wholesaling, but it just wasn't. There's recordings there, and you look at things and you try to get deals. I got my first wholesale deal, kind of learning from them, but I had a call for every little thing. Like, okay, I got a contract. Now what? And then it's like, wait, I'm going to connect, because I was actually daisy chaining wholesaler. So I was like, now how do I connect these two without connecting the two and getting kicked out of it? So I had to call a couple of people from there, some teachings, which, man, dude, I'll give them a shout out, man. Ray Rodriguez and Justin Urong, those two guys, you can find them on YouTube. They gave me some good information when I needed it. Just being in the classes themselves, though, it's not as informative. You got to take action. And then that was my first thing with the property. And then learning about Sub 2 is like, man, I'm in this community or this mentorship already. I want to get into Sub 2, but I don't want to pay for another one and then not learn here. So let me finish learning this one because it expires after a year. So what I did is like, I'm going to accelerate this. My townhouse isn't making what I want it to make. I can't do Airbnb on it because it's a townhouse, HOA. Short-term rentals, no, it's not going to be a thing. So I sold it on a wrap to a Sub 2 student and sold it for like 10% above market value. Got $30K down. Sweet. And then I get $300 a month check. If they mess up, get to do it again.
Yes, sir.
But there I learned the title company that does it, the servicing company, the contract. So I was able to get it all firsthand, make some cash to put towards like another property and go from there. But then I got an Airbnb, but kind of a little different to help out my mom. She had her main property and she's been wanting to move out. This is a 2-story, so she needed to go to a 1-story and kind of downgrade. And she's working a job, but they weren't really, she was taking care of a disabled person, an adult, and their parents weren't really appreciative of what she did. And she'd been with them for 15 years. No vacation time. She would work 5 days straight and they wouldn't give her overtime, things like that. So I said, look, Mom, this is what we can do. We can cash out, refi your house, get you to a 1-story, get you your 1 acre of land that you've always wanted. I'll Airbnb your property because it's on the lake, a small lake, and it has a pool. We'll do that, and all that money we can use to pay for both of them. And that's what we did. So that was my second property I got into.
So how did that work out? Is that still above board, still working out with Airbnb? Airbnb has gone through some changes, right? How is that working out still?
Yeah, the last 2 years has been doing really good. Christmas and Thanksgiving was actually slower than expected, but we had some reserves to make it work. So this month it's been rocking and rolling. I think the rodeo in March has helped out with that. But I'm looking at different options. I want to pad split it as well because one of the neighbors has been complaining a lot. Well, we'll see. But Airbnb is still doing fine, and I finally got somebody to manage it, so that helps out. That eats a little bit of the cost, but it's still doing enough to cover both those. What killed me was freaking taxes when I signed for it. It reduced the homestead 50%, so that shot up the price. We finally got that stabilized, so it's
And that's
doing well.
that's probably something you don't even price in, or you might not even know, might be ignorant to that, right? Until it happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah, when you homestead it, even though she was still living there, it's only 50% homestead because I had to put my name on it because we both had the credit, but she didn't have the income. When you're doing a conventional loan, you need to have income.
Let's describe so people understand what homesteading is. Some people might not be aware.
Oh, yeah. Homesteading is your primary resident where you live at, and your driver's license has to have that address as well. For the way it works in Texas and Houston is your license has to match your address on there, so you can get. They limit how much property value you get taxed on. So there's an amount. I think it's like $50K that they don't tax you on it. So it's a savings. I mean, that house went from $2,000 to $7,000 with no homestead in taxes. So it's a huge thing. And then we were able to drop it 50%. So now it's $3,500.
Oh, you were able to get it adjusted?
Yeah, but they don't adjust it that same year. They send you a check the year later. So that 1 year we had to pay the difference. It's like $1,200 a month. Between the two properties, the taxes went up with insurance, $2,500 a month. That's a whole nother mortgage. That's a third property I could have had.
Yeah. And how do you get it? Did you have to appeal? Is there a process that you went through?
When we had to redo the homestead, once we submitted that, then it goes through the paperwork, and the government, the county actually sees it, and they put the money aside, and at the end of the year, they send out checks. So luckily there was no appealing or calling to do. So it was pretty good that they were able to kind of automatically do that. But you have to wait till the end of the year for them to do it.
Right. Yeah, I hear that. Hey, you got to be patient with some of these things. Sometimes it kind of take the hit at the front end, right? It's kind of, there's like you said, there's another mortgage. Like, hey, what you're gonna do is a learning lesson, right? People gonna learn from that experience just by you having it, right?
Yeah. So if you refinance with somebody else's name, make sure your homestead stays in place because you don't get a notification saying it's removed or anything until you get that tax bill. You're like, what the heck?
Listen to the connector. But so are you investing locally in Houston? That's your primary market, or are you looking out of Houston? What's the story?
Yeah, so myself, I'm in Houston. I have that sober living house. Picked that up as well through Sub2. But I am expanding by partnering. So I've partnered up with another Owners Club member, Adam Colburn. Shout out. I've invested into his Knoxville property that he has sober living there.
Yes.
And hopefully we're going to expand it. Add some ADUs to it. He's working with the city right now to see the proper way to do it. Help out some more people. Right now they have 8 people that they're helping out, and then I have 11 in my sober living house outside of Houston and Pasadena. So my goal is 400. I'm at 19. Let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah, I had Adam in my prior pod, and I learned a lot in regards to sober living, the metrics, what it takes, the requirements. So shout out to Adam. Like, he gave me a real education on it. So I appreciated that from him. But so you're focusing on straight sober living. Is that kind of where you want to niche into that space?
No, co-living in general.
Okay.
So I got into sober living kind of like I wanted to do it, but the property that came into my lap, it had to be done that way because of HOA, and it's a huge house. There's 2 options. I move into it or I get into sober living. And that house, I got it through a Sub2 deal. It kind of fell in my lap. I was teaching somebody else about subject to an agent, and they were talking to another person that was agent, and they said, hey, I had this house that was going to go through, and they were already sold on the subject to, but somebody from the free group, they started ghosting them because they wanted to give the sellers $20K, and they wanted to get a $20K assignment fee. So they couldn't get that assignment fee that high, and they could barely get the $20K they couldn't get $20K to the sellers. So they brought it to me, and I've reached out to that person too, and they were just ghosting the sellers after that. So it came in, I gave them $4,000 because that's what I could give them. That what they owed was what the house was valued at with all the repairs it needed. So it was hard to walk away from a $400,000 house for $4,000.
Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And let's get into that, because there's co-living, right? That rent by the room model, and there's sober living. At co-living, you probably have to build out the house some once you have the right square footage to add additional rooms. Is that the same way with sober living? Because doesn't sober living require like a room size, like to have multiple beds, or what are the pros and cons, and what are the differences in both?
So the pros is that sober living is a protected class because it's considered a disability. So you can do it anywhere, even if you have an HOA. HOA can come by and say no, but once you say nope, look, the governor of Texas has said you can do it. The Department of Justice, the United States of America, has said you can't stop it. It's considered a single family home, and the people living together have considered them their family. So they can't stop it. They try to stop it. We had a fire marshal show up to the door and gave us 72 hours to either to install sprinklers or to close it down because they considered it a supporting house.
So, and how did that turn out? Obviously, but
luckily I found some advocates that have already been through it. They just copied and pasted the letter they already had and changed the address, and they went to bat for us. And we have had no more issues since then.
Yeah, they were testing you to see where they were testing your will. See what you knew, what you didn't know, and hey, if it works out, good. If he fights back, then he got us next.
Yeah.
Right.
And then co-living, similar, but you're renting it by the room, and you don't have as much restrictions to the members that are living there. And then co-living, it's difficult to do an HOA. It just depends on the laws that HOA has, their rules and regulations. So plus and minus, and then so co-living, a lot of times you're only going to rent one room to one person. Sober living, depending on the size of the room, you do 50 to 60 square foot. You can have 2 people in a room, 3 people in a room, depending on the size of the room.
That's interesting. And like, let's say co-living, you kind of sometimes concern yourself with parking, right? Because you have 6, 8, 10 members, and you want to purchase right where you have allocations for cars. Is that the same concern with sober living, knowing that people may have addiction problems, they might not have licenses? Is there differences in that?
But there's a lower chance that people in sober living will have a vehicle. I think so far from the 11 that we have in that house, usually the most we've had there's 4 cars, 5 cars. And the driveway is long. It'll fit lots of cars, but you can probably fit 7 cars, but it's all single file line. So it's difficult to have the person in the very front tell everybody to move out. So luckily, sober living, they usually share rides or Uber around.
And what made you partner with Adam?
He was on my podcast and we had a good conversation, and he was telling me about it. And I said, hey man, I want to extend my reach and get to the goal. We're both trying to help out people with co-living. So let me, invest with you. And he already had it stabilized, ready to go. Just needed to get some funding, some liquid funding, and move from there. So it was a pretty simple deal to do.
That's great. Are you looking to expand in that particular market? Because you said you're in Tennessee, correct?
That one's Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah. He's looking for more properties. He says we're partnered with Oxford House, and they keep on asking him, hey, you got another house? You got another house? So they need it there. So if you're in Knoxville, Tennessee area, and you got a house that has a big house with lots of rooms and restrooms, you want to do 1 restroom per 4 people, then let's talk about how we can do it to help out some sober living people.
That's great. Explain what Oxford House is.
Oxford House is a nonprofit corporate entity that helps people with in the recovery area to find housing, and the programs a step-by-step to recover, to stay away from either alcohol or any addictions.
Yeah. I love that, because they already have the members, let's say the tenant, to move in, right? And right. All you need to is supply housing, right? So that's kind of something that's already kind of built into the program. Let's say there's already people ready to go, ready and willing to move into a house, right? Because like you said, and there's a need. So I see big things happening for you guys, brother. You just got to fill that space.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it and trying to help out and get some more connections. So Oxford House is a little simpler doing it that way. Okay. Because you basically lease it to them. The way I did my Pasadena house is I actually met up with some operators. Actually met an operator in the sub 2 community that talked the talk but couldn't walk the walk. So we started off that way. My fault. I didn't vet them, because you get this deal, you get excited, you just want to get it done. So he tried it out. He only got like 3 members in there, and then he ghosted me. So I had to hurry up and change, and I called a bunch of sober living places in the area and asked them if they had space, and they said no. I was like, well, how can I provide my property for space? And they sent me these two operators, and they wanted to get into it. So I actually did a creative deal with them. Instead of them leasing the house out to me, I did a profit split. I go, look, so as soon as you're filling up the house, the members will pay their fee, and we'll use that money to pay for the expenses. It's like, I'll eat the cost the first couple of months, and then once you get to so many people, then we'll start splitting whatever remains, profit split. So it took about 4 months to get it filled to where I was paying everything. But after that, we get a little bit of a split here and split there. So it's been working out now.
Yeah. Let's build on that. Let's get into kind of the depths of hell or situations that you've maybe faced being in the real estate space. Everything's sometimes not all hunky-dory, right? Like you just mentioned, you had an operator that kind of ghosted you. So can you expound on some of those experiences that we take as lessons and not as losses, where people might want to learn and watch and say, Dan, I don't want to go through that, but thank you for the lesson. I make sure to avoid that pitfall as I walk in my steps in my journey.
Yeah, definitely. When you're to partner up with somebody, Pace really mentions it. It's like dating. You get to know them before you make it into that partnership, because once you do become a partnership, it's almost like a marriage. So even though you have a deal and you want to hurry up, you gotta see what they've done. Don't just believe that smooth talk they're doing. For those ladies out there, don't believe that smooth talk. Make sure you see the the receipts. The same thing with business. That smooth talk there, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. But that was a big thing because it delayed the profits, the process of being profitable. Not even profitable, just paying the cost of the house and the expenses. All that came out of my pocket for quite a few months, and you don't have the money to go. One, it would have hurt me, and then two, it would have hurt the sellers, because it's their house, it's still under their credit. You don't want to do them bad when they've trusted you with their house and their mortgage to take over.
Yeah,
that's one there.
Do you have any more of those?
So I have another one that we were working on a deal doing a Morby method, and I partnered up with somebody else that's experienced in doing Morby methods, but the way they do it kind of skips some steps. So we had this house is already flipped. It's beautiful. It's on a busy street, so the single family buyers weren't having it because the street's too busy. So I got them into doing a Morby method. It's that we're going to get an $840,000 house, that we're going to get $600,000 at closing, and they're going to seller finance $240,000. So they were all for it, except they wanted one thing. They wanted to get a letter from the DSCR lender saying that they're going to acknowledge the second lien. And the partner said, yeah, I can do that. And then we tried to get it, but we couldn't do it. And then we didn't have a TC that could have probably gotten it for us. So we lost 11,000 EMD on that deal. Yeah. So one thing is, even though somebody has experience of doing something, make sure they are checking the checkbox. We have this training in Sub 2 and Gator to make sure we're checking off all the boxes. If you have a TC, that'll help you take care of that as well. If I had gotten TC from the beginning, we probably would have another property that would be having 8 doors on it, co-living.
Those are one of the lessons, right? That you might have skipped a step, right?
Yeah.
To get something across the table. Maybe with just exuberance, you're excited, or you're still a novice, just experiences that, you might have skipped the step that, in hindsight, you'd be like, man, let's just take it slow and low. Let's make sure everything is right. You learn some patience as you go as well, right? Sometimes you might be newer and you're just excited, right? You have something on the table to get across, and that exuberance might mislead you sometimes, right? But I'm sure, definitely, like I said, those are lessons that you've kind of built now. You have a bag of lessons that you walk around with. What are some of those lessons that you can impart on the people to be like, hey, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this?
Yeah, just if they say they do it, ask them how they're going to do it. Even though they've done multiple, ask them, hey, what are the steps that you take? Okay, do you use a TC? No, I thought we had a TC. Then at the end is, hey, where's the TC? He's like, oh, I don't use a TC. I was like, you're really busy. You should be using the TC. But yeah, so if you're going to get into something, look up a checklist of what needs to be done, and then just check with that person. Hey, have you done this? Are you doing this? If you're not, and they say, hey, this is the way I've done it before, ask for advice from other people in the community. There's so many people there that will be happy to give you that advice, and without asking for anything in return, because you're taking action.
For sure. Listen to Edgar the Connector. He knows what he's talking about. Been there, done that. Edgar, let's hop on now. Let's get into a segment I call the makings of a hero. This is where you want to expound to our audience and tell them where is it that your journey is going to take you, where do you see yourself, what are you manifesting for yourself in the next 3 to 5 years, what impact do you want to have in your community, and so on. Can you expound on that?
Yeah, definitely, man. Manifesting Mondo.
A little bit.
Yeah, I really want to help out 400 people with either co-living, sober living, veterans as well. I lost my brother in the war in 2006, so I do want to really help out veterans. They need it, and I need to find an operator that knows about veterans and all the helps they can get. Shout out to Paul Rodriguez. He mentioned
shout out
988. Yeah. Veterans can call on any phone, 988, for any assistance they need. And that's on any phone, just call it up. It's free. To help those people out, but then also teach people what I'm doing, what I'm learning, because I didn't have that growing up to have this. Because one of the things is I actually did my first sub 2 in 1998.
No way.
But I didn't know what a sub 2 was. And I did my first house hack at that time, before, YouTube was a thing, before just being able to find so many answers. I don't even think Google was a thing yet.
Nope.
Yeah, I did sub 2 in a house hack. My parents were moving to a different house. I didn't want to move from the area. I said, hey, let me take over the mortgage. I'll get some roommates and make the payments. And we did it for a bit. Then I got an argument with my stepdad. So that deal ended pretty quick. But yeah, so one thing I want to do is do that, own properties in multiple states so I can go visit wherever I want. Houston gets really hot and humid, so I want to be able to go north when it's hot and humid to Brooklyn, baby. Go see that Statue of Liberty and hang out with Mondo.
Come out here, man. We could go upstate. My brother-in-law lives in a great spot upstate, kind of away from the city. It's about an hour and a half out. I'm actually looking to purchase something around that area as well. There's it's just drive into the mountains, and then all of a sudden it opens up and there's lakes there in the area as well. It's very peaceful, very tranquil, just away from the city. And the summer times there is beautiful. So something I've been manifesting is I want to get a property creative in that vicinity. So that now it's just connecting the dots, as you well know how that works, right?
Yeah, definitely. We love Denver, Colorado area. It's like Colorado Springs. That place is beautiful. Portland, where my Falls is at. That place is beautiful. I'd love to have places there. And actually in New Jersey, I have an aunt that has she has an apartment there. So I'm going to start talking to her about it, because she's supposed to give it to her kids, but her kids don't want anything to do with it. So I'll find a way to get it creatively and pay their kids off every month to where they have their income coming and not have to worry about managing it. And since you're close by, man, maybe we partner up on it, since you'll be able to be boots on the ground, and you already know multifamily.
Sure. You know exactly where she's located?
No, I don't remember. It was 15 years last time I went, but okay. I can find out for you.
For sure. Yeah. Again, sometimes our family members are in those situations, and we have elders in our family, and there's no real estate planning that happens as well, right? And all of a sudden, person passes, and then they have an asset, and everyone has a different personality and what to do with it. And right, if there's not clear direction, a trust, let's say, where it's gonna, you're gonna abide by the orders in the trust, it just becomes a sheesh show, I call it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm actually helping my mom with their planning too. We went through Prime Corporate Services, affiliate link in my contact. We used them to set up my mom's basically will and testament. So we created an LLC for her as well, using Prime Corporate Services to run the Airbnb, and then we did the estate planning. So her 2 properties, when they pass away, between the three sons, then it'll be split property and not have to worry about any infighting. Great thing is we get along very well, and I don't think we'll have that problem, but you never know. Things happen, right?
Yeah. Prime Corporate Services is cool. Shout out to Tommy Thornburg. I had him on my podcast a couple months back. Shout out to you, Tommy, and PCS as well. I have a link. Hit my link and hit Edgar's link as well, and they'll be able to get you situated in whatever situation you're looking for regarding opening your LLCs, entities, and so on. And just give them a call. They'll give you an hour consult for free, and you take it from there. So take full advantage of that consult, and I'll lead you in the right direction. But yeah, let's get back to your Mount Everest. Let's say, let's get back to the mountains
real quick, going to the PCS. So
let's do it.
I'm doing a deal now with Luver and Owners Club. Shout out.
Shout out to another big dog.
Yeah, he's rocking it. So I'm going to be sponsoring the loan on a property, a fourplex, and I'm putting it under my LLC. So sponsoring means I'm going to get the house under my name with my credit on a conventional loan. We're doing a DSCR loan, but he's going to manage it and we're going to split the proceeds. But one thing there is like PCS, what we have an issue with the lender right now is PCS, when they set up your account, they set us up as a managing member.
You got to be member manager.
They want you to be a manager.
Yeah.
So I had to pay $300 to get the state filed to change that wording from managing member to manager. So the lender would give me that and use it under the LLC.
Very important. Let's stay there. You're sponsoring. I've been not asked, but I've kind of put my hat in the ring for a sponsorship, right? So it's for a reason it came up that you brought it up. So how does that exactly work? Well, I know what you're using your credit profile. Someone's leveraging your credit profile to get something across the table. An LLC is created, and it's created as a manager member, let's say, instead of member manager, right? So it is listed as a manager. The property's under your name. You're responsible for it. Are you solely responsible, or is there someone else responsible inside the LLC? And what's the term of the sponsorship? Are you carrying it through until it gets refied, or how does that work? Kind of in a step-by-step granular way that you may know.
Yeah, so because it's a DSCR loan, the interest rate's a little bit higher than a conventional regular loan. So we're hoping there's a payment penalty within 5 years. So after 5 years, hopefully the rates are better, and then we can do a cash out refi. Hopefully it appreciates by that time as well. And that's the plan, to cash it out in hopefully 5 to 7 years. Yeah, right now I'm 100% liable. It's basically my property in my name, and they're essentially going to be a property manager for it. And then I'll see the proceeds and we'll split the income. So I'm sponsoring it, but I really will be hands off after that. I mean, he'll ask me for to make decisions on something that needs to be fixed or changed out, but they've already done the flip. He's done the flip. He's done so many flips already. So if he's willing to buy it under his name that way, and he's did the flip, I know the place is pretty good.
Do you feel there are any pros and cons to being a sponsor?
Depends on the exit on the house, right? So I think if you do something like if you do it all under your name and then something happens, the house burns down, this and that, if you don't do it right, you won't be protected. The LLC, the way I have it set up, it protects me. So then the LLC is the one that will be the owner if something like that happens. I mean, there's probably other things there that I haven't thought about yet.
Sure. And how did you come up with those conclusions that you set forth in the LLC? You already had some priors, or you leaned on others in the community for that skills, for that knowledge, let's say?
Yeah, the Louver's done a bunch of them that way, and he showed me what he's done. So I was like, okay. And I talked to one of his partners that's done that with them, sponsored some loans with them, and they've had a good relationship going and going well for them. So, okay, that's another way I can do it without having to find a deal, manage the deal, find tenants and all that.
Bro, shout out to Louver. Louver's such a big dog. You know, he's so well versed in the space. You know, he's so knowledgeable. This guy, you know, he's an immigrant, right, from Cuba. The guy came here maybe no more than 10 years ago, right? He's learned the language. He's in the space. He's done all kind of, he has all type of skill sets in the real estate sector. Man, shout out to him, and he's going to be one of my next guests after what we talk about next, right? So I love the knowledge in that. Again, you also sometimes want to leverage your credit profile if you have excellent credit, let's say, right? And you'd be like, figure out ways to be a sponsor. It's interesting. I was taking some notes earlier, things that I want to do, and one of them I put in there, learn more about sponsoring other people's projects. So, and then you bring it up. So I'll definitely be connecting with you guys if that opportunity arises with someone else that's in our community. And I'm excited for, you know, leveraging that side of the business as well. Now let's get into the nitty gritty, right, Edgar? Let's get into Squad Up Summit 2025 in Dallas, almost in your backyard. That's your neighbor. What's going on? What's happening? How's that going to be, the experience? Let the people know. You were there last year in the inaugural one in Orlando. Let them know what that's about, man.
Yeah, 4 days of awesomeness. That was my second conference I'd gone to. I had gone to one a year before. there's the first Squad Up Summit put together by Pace Morby, Jamil Damji, and now they got Jerry Norton involved as well. And it's just a great atmosphere because of their go-giving mentality and positive attitude. You go, the event, right, is daily from 9 o'clock a.m. to 5, 6 p.m. But I was staying up till 3 in the morning just talking to people about real estate, about what they're doing and learning things, telling them what I could do for them. I met wonderful people there to become friends with. From there, we got into Owners Club, and I met Mondo later on at another more secluded or private event, and it's been great. Just you meet so many people there. You take notes. Get your blink card if you're going. Put on your blink card what you want somebody to remember you for. Because I told people looking at it, because when we were done, I would go home and I start looking at my blink. I was like, what does this person do? I don't know what they do. Delete. I don't remember them. We had a conversation, but there's 3,000 people. You're going to talk to 100 people probably. You're not going to remember 20 of them. So put it on there. If you're going to be cold calling, put it your cold caller. If you have money to spend, hey, I fund private money lending, private money partners. You're in the co-living space. Put what you want people to call you. And then if you have a superpower, you write it what you can help out with. So like W-2, because I have a W-2, I can sponsor that loan. And it doesn't require as much doing a DSCR loan paperwork because it's based on the value of the house and the value of the rents. So having a W-2 allows you to get that with less paperwork. So you can sponsor, I think, up to 5 of those per person. But yeah, man, Squad Up's going to be great. You're going to have some mindset changes. For
sure. Get your blink right. That bar scene at 2 in the morning, it's out of control. I know what you talk about. I was leaving horse every night, like, sound like a frog, rah, 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 like, so it's an incredible experience. It's the #1 real estate networking event, bar none, bar 10x, whoever X, doesn't matter. This is the place you want to be. Meet me there. I'll be there.
It was 2,000 people last year. It's 3,500 this year. Check out my Instagram, Edgar's REI, and you can go back to April of last year and you'll see a video of networking at freaking 2 in the morning.
Fire, right? So explain to our audience, while we were there, maybe it was the last day, second to last day, maybe there was an offer presented to us, right? And the offer was, you want to be an owner, right? You want to be an owner. You want to own. You don't want to be doing this for the rest of your life. You don't want to be doing this for years. These are entry level points, let's say, right? This is the end goal. This is where you want to be, right? This is where you want to settle into. And then there was an offer, which was Owners Club, right? Describe what Owners Club is to you. What transformations has happened to you the last 8 months, let's say from June, which was, I'm also Owners Club. He's Owners Club. Our first connection as owners was in Scottsdale in June. Let them know what that was about, man.
Oh, yeah. Squad Up Summit last year, we had Cody Sanchez on stage talking about not just owning a business and being an employee of a business. So that's what most people do. They open up their business and they become an employee of it. So she's talking about becoming the owner of it by delegating the job so you have the business running more without you. And then that went into the pitch with Pace and Jamil. And one of the biggest things is Pace's company helped out another company that was losing, I don't know, $20,000 a month.
The plant guy.
Yeah, the plant guy. Dude was every day $4,000 was coming out of his check because he was owing so much in interest. And Pace went, put in his systems and processes, and now they're making like $20K a month on his half alone. And just knowing that I'm nowhere near that bad in the negative of my business, I can only go up. And having Owners Club there is having, it's going to be 500 people this year on it, but being able to have more of, like being a fly on the wall of what Pace does to be successful. What he's learned from his masterminds where he's paying $250,000 to learn, that he comes and shares with us, and how he motivates us and how he inspires us and how he helps us break the barriers that we put in front of ourselves, because a lot of it's mindset. And then it's not for everybody though, when you play a video game, there's some video games, Mario Brothers, let's say, there's an object that you can't get to. You have to beat the level, you have to beat a couple of levels, level up your game before you can come back and get to that. So that's something that you need to have a little bit of experience on, so you know where you're going to be at and be able to come back and reach that, ring that bell, ding. Also subscribe and get notifications from Mondo.
Absolutely. So for sure. So we had our inaugural kind of meetup together in Scottsdale. We had some community camps. So we went into Montana. Shout out to Jerry Norton for hosting us in his incredible house by the lake. If you went, it was super dope. It was you had to experience. I never went to Montana. I'm from Brooklyn. I like to travel, but I never went up that way. And then we went to Boston on our fall retreat, which was again incredible. And what I noticed over the 3 meetups, how the complexion of the communities changed, meaning the mindset. So many people I was feeling had breakthroughs. They were communicating different. Everyone is edifying each other differently, right? They were lifting everyone up. And I noticed that at Boston. So can you impart on some of that stuff that we've encountered over the retreats and the meetups and the mindsets, the people that were brought on the stages to walk us through and share their experiences and how that's turned out and what has transformed in you and you'd be like, man, I made so many breakthroughs and this is what I'm doing and this is what I needed.
Yeah, for sure. Boston was an amazing experience as well. So when I started my podcast, I said, I am going to start recording my podcast. I got my name for the podcast there. Check out my podcast, Dream, Start, Own. Everybody has a dream. Not everybody starts. Not everybody owns. Listen to that. Listen to Mondo, and he's going to show you how to get there.
Woo! Dropping fire right there. I love the title, bro. I love it. And that was all a fruition that happened in Boston. I guess everything kind of climaxed there for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Met a bunch of people. Right there, I scheduled, I think, 5 podcasts just to get going. I said, let me do it. I was barely getting my name, barely getting the structure, but hey, you take action, progress over perfection. The mindset coaches that we had there, the networking, the purposeful networking of meet somebody that has this need and find somebody else that can provide that and connect them. That was a great experience as well, to not just get to know somebody for yourself, but get to meet somebody that may not provide value to you directly, but you know somebody else that you can connect to and provide value for each other. Edgar the Connector was born there.
That's what's up, bro. That's so dope, right? Those exercises, right? Because Pace set this, he sets the table. He's a vision caster. Say, guys, this is what I want to do, and start connecting. And then we just started connecting. Everyone had their notepads ready to go. And he kind of also incentivized it. It was like, whoever gets the most connections wins. I don't even believe that was a real thing. I think that was the carrot for everyone to chase, right? I think he thinks in that way. You know what I'm saying? He thinks so fly that he even has an end goal. It might not even gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? But that's the carrot you're chasing. Damn, I want to be that guy that made the most connections, right? So everyone has that battery in their back, right? To be like, let's do it, right? And going through it, you just have so many experiences with so many different people looking for so many different things, and all that was kind of new to me. That whole experience, right? So what was great about it? Now you wrote stuff down. You've met people, and now you kind of know sort of a little bit what someone needs. You might not remember what everybody needs, right? But you're definitely in that mindset already, right? Okay, let me remember I can connect you to so-and-so and connect the dots and keep it all flowing circularly in the family, right? Just everyone kind of wins inside the community like a funnel, right? And then it spins around and turns into a hurricane.
Yeah, man, definitely. They've all been experiences. I mean, Arizona, they gave us the gimbals to be able to start recording. I just started carrying it with me to get used to it. I didn't use it half the time, but now that I'm doing the podcast, I'm doing the content, branding myself, that has made me step out of the way, because I would post a little bit here and there, but I didn't like being doing videos, this and that. But now, hey, you do it because if you have information, share the knowledge. If you're not sharing it, you're being selfish, keeping it to yourself. Other people are going to be in the situation, and hopefully they listen and don't make that mistake, and they're able to take a couple of steps faster. Sure.
Again, back to the squad up. What are you anticipating? What are you looking forward to now that you've been in a couple of these spaces? I'm assuming, I know you're moving more intentionally. So what are you looking forward to?
Hopefully meeting some people that I can team up with, that can join me in my path forward, and to help out the 400 people that we're trying to get to. That's the first step, 400 people, and hopefully blow it out the water after that. But yeah, meeting a lot of good people that I can help out to improve their game, and then find people to connect to. But I really want to create a team, because solopreneur, it's hard to do it by yourself.
That ain't it, right? You know what I'm saying? Especially in real estate, it's such a networking people person type of business, right? So you pick the right name, the Connector, and that's kind of what it is connecting, right? To see who makes a good fit, and that's super valuable. To do this alone, it's not easy, right? And sometimes we box ourselves in, right? Sometimes our personality doesn't let us expound, but I think this is the place, this is the meetup, this is the squad up where you can be that, you know what I'm saying? You can transform yourself and meet different people. Again, you never know who holds the keys to your treasure.
Yeah, great saying. And that's why you want to network, because you're going to find somebody that can help you get to your treasure faster.
That's so dope. Edgar, the connector, let them know where they can find you. People want to connect with you. People want to collab with you. Let them know where you at.
Yeah, so check out my YouTube, Edgar the Connector. Online too, Instagram, Edgar the Connector. Personal Instagram, Edgar's REI for real estate investing. I'm on Facebook. Podcast is now on Spotify as well and Apple Music. So you can get it there if you don't want to see it on YouTube. Listen to it in your car. Listen to it when you're working out. Get these gems that Mondo was dropping for us on the last week's podcast. So yeah. And then website's REI from Houston, real estate investing from Houston. You can see some more of my projects there and connect with me as well.
That's super dope. Again, thank you for coming on. My people, hit that smash that button, like, share, and care. And now we out of here. Until the next time.
Peace out. Thanks for having me, man. Take care.